Friday, 28th of February 2025, and I'm here with a NIFT student. So, ma'am, tell me something about yourself, your background, and how you got into fashion.
So I'm Abhina. I'm in my third year. I'm doing textile design in NIFT, and I'm from Delhi. So how I got into fashion is mainly because of my mom. She has a huge, specifically textile design is only because of her sari collection. I have seen her have such a wide range that I've genuinely had an interest in textiles ever since I saw her collection. That is what led me to come to NIFT.
And any experiences that you would want to share in the 2 years that you've been here?
Okay, so it's very clear. In if I wanted to do textile, so for me, whatever we learn over here is very nice. Everything I learned before I came to NIFT, I had to relearn, I had to unlearn because whatever they taught here was completely different. Weaving and all, what you see outside is very different to what you actually do over here. When you learn the technicality, you learn a lot of technical stuff. You learn that design is more than just aesthetics, and if you're a designer, you don't need to only focus on aesthetics. There are many things that you have to keep in mind when you design something.
What does fashion mean to you?
I feel like fashion is an expression of yourself. Might be a very cliche answer, but the way you express yourself, how you present yourself, and how you feel when you dress in a certain way. It could be two ways. One could be about yourself and one could be about others. One, when you dress yourself, you feel like you're playing a certain role. If you want to feel more confident, you tend to dress up more, you tend to look more presentable. Another way is when you feel it's about when you feel happy. You feel happy I feel happy when I do styling events. We have lots of styling events when you drape people, when you do different accessorize them, you put makeup on them, you style them, everything that makes me very happy. So for me, fashion is just an expression of your thoughts, your feelings, could be on yourself, could be on others.
Has your notion of fashion changed when you came to NIFT?
I used to think fashion is only about clothes, garments specifically. But after coming to NIFT, pata chala ki everything that you see around you is fashion because it goes from a digital platform. Everything which is digital also comes under fashion. Everything which is physical, like clothes or even any t-shirts, socks, all of this is a part of fashion.
Ma'am, can you briefly tell us about the role that platforms like Pinterest and Instagram play in fashion trend forecasting?
Instagram and Pinterest are good sources to look at, but they're not the best sources for forecasting. But if you want actual information on fashion, I don't think Pinterest and Instagram are good. Instagram is good for exposure. Like if you want to find some sort of new stuff, let's say if you want to see something very different from what you are doing, Instagram is good. But if you want to know about trends and forecast, then WGS and Promstale, these are all websites that you should actually refer to because that's what the industry uses, and you get a more in-depth detail about what trends are coming up, what colors you should be using. So I don't think Pinterest is very reliable when it comes to forecasting.
And Instagram?
Instagram is good for exposure, but forecasting is hit and miss, 50-50. Could be right, could be wrong.
Do you think that the emergence of digitalization in fashion, like the emergence of virtual runways, has had a positive impact or a negative impact in the industry?
I think it has had a positive impact because when you look at it, any garment or anything that you make, to get an idea of how it looks, platforms like Clo3D or any digital platform is really nice to understand how your design will fit or will look when made onto when put on an actual person. So I feel like it is a positive influence. It also allows you to experiment more in terms of artistic fashion. So when you look at runway fashion, sometimes there are some designs which are a little difficult to have with models walking. So expressing those things using such softwares or digital platforms I think it has helped the fashion industry very positively.
What is your thought on the emergence of digital avatars in fashion?
Good. There's nothing much to say about it. Digital avatars, again, as mentioned before, I feel like it's a good way to express yourself. Same as the question before. My answer is very similar to that one.
Right. Lastly, where do you see the industry in the next 20 years, and will traditional practices still be a part of it, or will digitalization take over, especially in an Indian context?
I feel like if you talk about India, India is not somebody who we might overlook traditional practices, but they'll always be there somewhere or the other. Like 20 years down the lane, upper say if you see, you might not have traditional practices, but when you go one level down, you still might see some of the practices being there. Maybe usse ek aur niche level chalega to fir to everybody will be having those same practices with them. 20 years later, I feel like we will go back in a circle, because abhi bhi if we're talking about sustainability, it is not a very new concept that we have. Sustainability or digital fashion is also a part of reducing the amount of waste that is produced during because of, you know, when you cut patterns and all, there's a lot of fabric waste that is produced. So to emit that, people tend to use digital platforms as well. Uske liye, I think that is a good way. I feel like in 20 years we might end up going back to using unstitched instead of, you know, like we used to do before. I feel like it's a circle which will be completed. Aage jaake maybe, for all you know, the same dhoti that we've been seeing for so many generations will still be there, but maybe with a more modern take. जैसे अभी jeans है, jean has slowly इतना skinny fit से we've seen it become so baggy कि वो अभी पता नहीं कब धोती बन जाए. So for all you know, वही धोती दोबारा जीन के फॉर्म में वापस आए. 20 साल बहुत टाइम है, बहुत चेंज हो सकता है. But I think traditional practices will still be there, because it's very difficult to completely get rid of them, because you still need. So we had a workshop today. There is the ex-creative director of Miyake. He came for a workshop with us, and he gave us an exercise in which we were supposed to go and find different material which is not textile, not traditional.
Could you repeat the director of what came here?
Miyake.
Okay.
Miyake is a Japanese designer.
Okay.
So Miyake's ex-creative director was here for a workshop with us. He came for a session before, and he particularly came for this workshop right now. What he made us do was, we went around, we looked at different unique materials. So what we did was, we used banana leaves, and once you take the juice out of sugarcane, the residue that is remaining, jo bachta hai, we used that, and we wove it together, made some woven accessory with it. We made a fan out of it, and जो bags होता है ना, guinea bags, sacks, उनसे भी करके एक vest बनाया था. So he made us go out and explore. While exploring, हमारा शुरू में we thought of doing, you know, sketches बना लेते हैं, you know, cloth ready पे model पे drape कर लेते हैं, हमें पता चल जाएगा, अच्छा दिखेगा, उसको डाल देंगे वीडियो में, ये वो. Then we actually went out and we saw कि हाँ, हम ये सामान उठा रहे हैं, वो सामान उठा रहे हैं. फिर एक हर 5 मिनट में अलग मटेरियल मिल रहा है, हर 5 मिनट में अलग आइडिया डेवलप हो रहा था. उस चीज़ के लिए अगर हम डिजिटली करने बैठ जाए तो उनको लगता नहीं है वो हो पाएगा, बिकॉज इन अ स्पैन ऑफ 4 hours वी प्रोड्यूस्ड अ होल वीडियो, अ प्रॉपर डॉक्यूमेंट, एंड वी कन्विंस्ड अ सब्जी वाले भैया टू वेयर आवर प्रोडक्ट एंड मॉडल फॉर अस. तो डिजिटल में ये शायद ना हो पाए, ह्यूमन इंटरेक्शन वगैरह. सो व्हेन यू लुक एट इट, उसमें डिज़ाइन में ना इमोशन भी बहुत होता है. इट्स नॉट जस्ट कपड़ा बनाया, कपड़ा पहनाया, हो गया. तुम जो पहनते हो, जो पहनाते हो, सब चीज़ के पीछे कुछ ना कुछ होता है. व्हेन यू टॉक टू समबडी, जैसे हम भैया को बोला, अरे भैया वेरी कूल, हमने उनको बोला भैया पंखा ऐसे हिलाओ, पैर पे पैर रखो एंड यू सिट एंड डू इट. ही वॉज सो हैप्पी, ही स्टार्टेड डूइंग इट. जो बोले उनको वो किया. ही वॉज सो हैप्पी अबाउट इट. तो आई थिंक है 20 साल में ये तो रहेगा, अभी भी ह्यूमन वाला एस्पेक्ट तो रहेगा. डिजिटल मे बी 50-50 हो जाए, बट ट्रेडिशनल प्रैक्टिसेस मेरे हिसाब से फिर भी बचेंगे.
तो डू यू थिंक को एग्जिस्ट करेगा, या एक का विल बी मोर देन द अदर?
आई थिंक को एग्जिस्ट करे बिना दोनों नहीं बचेंगे, क्योंकि इफ़ यू आर गोना वर्क, ह्यूमन नीड्स टेक्नोलॉजी टू वर्क. वी नीड बेसिक एग्जांपल कि अभी बिना पंखे के भी नहीं रह सकते, तो फैशन इंडस्ट्री में तो मशीन चाहिए, टेक्नोलॉजी चाहिए. बट सिर्फ टेक्नोलॉजी पे भी रिलाई नहीं कर सकते, क्योंकि देयर हैज़ टू बी सम ह्यूमन थॉट, सम क्रिएटिविटी, सम इमोशन